Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Parthasarthi Lalita Vishaka Radha Parthasarthi Lalita Vishaka Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Haribo, Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this is a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, Text 17. So, Naistanya Dani Puvante tapodana vratadibihi. Tapodana vratadibihi dadharmajam tadridhayam tadapi shangrasevaya taistanyadhani puyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadrishdayam tadapi shangrisevaya taisanyadani puyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadridyayam tadapi shangrisevaya taistanyadani puyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadridyayam tadapi shangrisevaya taistanyadhani bhuyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadridyayam tadapi shangrisevaya taistavani puyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadridyayam tadapi shangrisevaya. Matajis. Taistanyadani puyante tapodana vratadibihi nadharmajam tadridyayam tadapi shangrisevaya tahi, by those, tani, all those, aghani, sinful activities and their results, puyante, become vanquished, tapaha, austerity, dana, charity, vrata adibihi, by vows and other such activities, not adharmajam, produced from irreligious actions, tat, of that, hridayam, the heart, tat, that, api, also, isha angri, of the lotus feet of the Lord, sevaya, by service. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Although one may neutralize the reactions of sinful life through austerity, charity, vows, and other such methods, these pious activities cannot uproot the material desires in one's heart. However, if one serves the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, he is immediately freed from all such contaminations. Purport. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhaktihi parishanu bhavo viraktir anyatra cha. Devotional service is so powerful that one who performs devotional service is immediately freed from all sinful desires. All desires within this material world are sinful because material desire means sense gratification, which always involves actions that is more or less sinful. Pure bhakti, however, is anyabhilashita shunya. In other words, it is free from material desires which result from karma and jnana. One who is situated in devotional service no longer has his material desires, and therefore he is beyond sinful life. Material desires should be completely stopped. Otherwise, although one's austerities, penances, and charity may free one from sin for the time being, one's desires will reappear because his heart is impure. Thus he will act sinfully and suffer. Om Ganantamanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakaramayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvatam Cha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shmari Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurivani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desh Tarane Vanchakalpaturu Vacha Kripsuni Vacha Patitanam Bhavani Bil Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This verse talks about the super excellence of devotional service. So in this chapter in particular, this is about the glories of the holy name and how by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord Narayana, the fallen Brahmana, Ajamil, was saved from a terrible fate. And not only was he spared from death, but he was also spared from the punishment in hell, for all of his sinful activities. So what to speak of Ajamil? The situation of people today in the age of Kali is much like that. Sinful activity pervades our daily lives. So many sinful people are out there. And therefore it is only the devotional service of the Lord that can deliver people from certain hell or certain hellish conditions even in this life. So there are many wonderful pastimes that that illustrate this. And we can see that devotees, those who take shelter of the Lord, they're not ordinary people, and they do not die like ordinary people. Just like the Bhagavatam begins with Parikshit Maharaj, the impending death of Parikshit, because he had committed an offense against Shamaka Rishi, and his son, Shringi, had deigned to curse him, give him an overly harsh punishment. And so Parikshit Maharaj, in his heart, although he committed an offense, he said, yes, let this offense burn me to ashes, and which is actually what happened. But what Parikshit Maharaj did, death is certain for everybody, but for Parikshit Maharaj, he understood what is the goal of life, and through that arrangement, he could hear the Srimad Bhagavatam from Shukadev Goswami and get the mercy of so many great sages who are in attendance to hear the questions and answers between those two great souls. So, the amazing thing is that devotees, because they're always situated at the lotus feet of the Lord, they fear no condition of life. Therefore, even for Shukadev Goswami, for Parikshit Maharaj, the fact that he was going to die was not troublesome for him. And because he knew the goal of life, he engaged in the full devotional service of the Lord in Shravanam and Kirtanam and Vishnu Smaranam. So, other examples. Other examples. The Dhruva Maharaj. So is another wonderful example. He was a child. He was insulted by his mother, his stepmother, Suruchi. And being of Kshatriya blood, he could not tolerate the insult. And so, even though he was advised by his mother and later by his guru, Narada Muni, that he should just bear the insult and meditate on the Lord, still, he wanted to get even. So he wanted a kingdom even better than even greater than that of his father's. And his father was emperor of the world at the time. You know, he was actually, Maharaja Tanapad. And so, because of his determination, Suniti, she advised Dhruva, only Lord Vishnu can help you. Actually, she said that Lord Vishnu, he empowered Lord Brahma to create this whole world. So how can he not fulfill your desire to even get a kingdom even greater than Brahma, if he wants? So therefore, take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So he also went to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Narada Muni encountered him and also advised him, be peaceful, just bear the insult. But no, he said, my dear Naradaji, although you are right, I can't do this. So please, what else can I do? And so then Narada Muni initiated him into the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and gave him directions on how to worship the Lord. So we can see that Dhruva Maharaj, he was 5 years old at the time. So this is the Parthasarthi process that Narada Muni gave him, because the method of the karma marg is he was too young for that. Only from the age of 8 years old, at least, can one be initiated in that marg. So this is Pancharatrika. He gave them Pancharatrika mantra to meditate on. And so then Dhruva Maharaj, by very, very strict, very intense devotional service, Dhruva Maharaj very quickly achieved his objective. And when he achieved it, he realized, I desired the wrong thing. So that's the glory of devotional service. Even you want some material thing, if you go to Lord Vishnu and perform devotional service, even for that material thing, the Lord purifies you. So, kama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. So Dhruva Maharaj's personal life, he illustrates this principle. So, other wonderful pastimes. So the story of Vritrasura and Maharaj Chitraketu. Actually, they're one and the same person, just at different times. So, the story of Vritrasura is very interesting because it was it was Twashta, I believe, right? Who was killed? Yeah, it was Twashta. So huh? Yeah, Vishvarupa. It was Vishvarupa. Twashta was the Twashta was the father of Vishvarupa. So Vishvarupa, because of an offense by Indra at Brihaspati, so Brihaspati left, and the demigods were devoid of the shelter of their guru, and so the demons were very easily able to overwhelm them. And so in order to get their Shakti back, they got Vishvarupa to be their priest. But because Vishvarupa, his mother, was also from the demon side of the family, so when he would offer sacrifices, he'd sometimes give some portion to the demons and that. And then, so this was going on secretly. And then when Indra found out about it, he killed him, cut off his head. He had 3 heads, actually. And so he cut off all 3 heads, and they turned into birds, exotic birds. And so this greatly angered Twashta, his father. His father performed a yajna to get an enemy of Indra. But while he was performing the yajna, he mispronounced some of the shlokas, and instead of getting an enemy of Indra, he got someone of whom Indra would be the enemy. So this is Vritrasura. It's on the screen. Oh yeah, okay, this is very nice. So this is Vritrasura and Indra. And so when Vritrasura, this is still a battle between civilized parties, where the parties, they get together, they fight, and while they're fighting, sometimes they exchange some words, some very kind of like high words. And Indra was saying, "I'll kill you," and Vritrasura says, "Yeah, you can kill me. I'm just doing my duty, and it's it's just something I do." And Vritrasura actually pointed out Indra's sins. He said, "Okay, you're sinful, and I'm here to do this." And so and he says, "And when you kill me, I'm going to be freed from my curse. So it's a win-win situation. So either I'll kill you or you kill me. So let's go at it." Lord Indra once could understand that Vritrasura was transcendentally situated. He was Amrit. It means he is self-realized. Amrit means death, and Amrit means without death. So he was he was a Brahmana, in other words. He was at the position of a Brahmana, and he knew that if he killed such a person, that this would be a grave sin. And so Indra himself hesitated to kill Vritrasura. Vritrasura said, "No, you have to do it. In fact, I'm going to make you kill me because I'm going to attack you. And if you don't kill me, you're going to be killed." So, this battle, Vritrasura, he was, as you can see, he was a, great, Indra is very, very teeny tiny. Vritrasura is very big. And so he actually swallowed Indra. And Indra, with his thunderbolt weapon, he killed, disemboweled, and killed Vritrasura. And this thunderbolt, it wasn't an ordinary weapon. It was made from the bones of the Dichi. So, so now for the next 1,000 years, Indra, he had to hide from a Chandala, a woman who was trying to run to embrace him, and she had like tuberculosis, and So even in those days, they had tuberculosis. You know, you're not going to get rid of disease very easy. It's always with us. So he's trying to run to embrace him everywhere. Indra would run. This woman, this Chandala, tubercular woman, was always after him. So he had to hide in a lotus pond just to be rid of him. So this is a very wonderful story. And Parikshit Maharaj, you know, he had to inquire, you know, who is this Ritrasura? And where did he come from? And so then the story of Maharaj Chitraketu was then narrated. This is the next narration. And so the story of Chitraketu, that he was always, he was actually king in the area of Shudasen, actually Mathura at that time. So Mathura has always been around. And he had 10 million wives. So some people say, how can one man have 10 million wives? But the Bhagavatam is perfect. So there's no mistake in that. He had 10 million wives. And he could take care of 10 million wives. And by chance, all of those 10 million wives were barren. So, but he still wanted a son. So Angira Rishi came one day and came to him. And so this is the system, this is the Vedic system, is that sadhus, they come to your home, they come to your kingdom, they come to your palace, and so forth like that. And then you talk. And then the sadhus, they have this, what they call kushal prashna, you know, nice kind of like kind answers. How are you? I'm fine. And this is that. How are you? Huh? Polite conversation. And then you could see that, oh, I can see your Angira says, what's wrong? I can see that you're not happy. And then the king Maharaj Chitraketu said, I don't have a son. I don't have an heir. And this is a big thing back then, because they didn't have, you know, government social security systems that, you know, that if you're poor, that they give you money. The government did give, but the society, especially the families, they would give. People were a lot more charitable back then. So, you know, so so having a king, so having a son was like a very important thing, you know, for the maintenance of the family, maintenance of the kingdom, and so forth like that. So I just want a son, one son. So Angira Rishi performed a yajna and gave some sweet rice to him you give this to your wife. And so he gave it to his head wife, and she became pregnant. And then all the other ladies in the palace became very jealous. And then they made a plan to poison the son, and they killed him. And then they were all like, everybody was full of grief, and the women who killed him were pretending to be full of grief. So this is the material world. There's always some misery. There's always some envy. So Angira Rishi, he knew that this is going to happen, and so then, in order to complete the deal, he brought his friend Narada Muni with him. So, you know, like in wrestling, when they have like the professional wrestling, sometimes they have teams of wrestlers, two are in the wrestler, and then you have to go to the side and tag the wrestler, and the other wrestler comes in and helps. So like this. So sometimes you get tag team. You get your wrestlers together, and they help each other. So you get the devotees, the bhaktas, they come and they help each other. So Narada Muni came specifically to preach bhakti to Maharaj Chitraketu. And so by the mystic power of Narada Muni, his son, he brought his dead son back to life and revealed that he was actually an enemy in his previous life and had come to actually give him pain. And so when he realized this, Narada Muni preached to him and says, yes, now become free of this and this material affection, and become a devotee and take shelter of the Lord. So Yes, yes. It's very nice. So, as soon as sometimes preaching is an art that you just have to wait for the right moment when someone's ready to take it. This is the expertise of the preachers. So at that moment, Chitraketu Maharaj could understand his actual situation. He could take shelter of the Lord. And by the mercy of Narada and Angiri Rishi, he could take shelter of the Lord. So when he did that, he actually had an airplane. And all his wives came with him. And even his wives were delivered when they understood the true situation. Even they became free from their sinful act and sober. So they're going around the whole universe in this airplane, transcendental airplane, and having kirtan, bhajan, kirtan, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And then by chance they came to some sammelan at where Lord Shiva was giving a lecture, and sitting on his lap was Mother Parvati. And then Chitraketu saw this and said, oh, this is very wonderful. He's in front of all these sages, Narada and everybody else, all these brahmacharis, and yet he's sitting with Parvati sitting on his lap while he's speaking. And so he got off his airplane and he offered his obeisance to Lord Shiva and says, oh, Lord Shiva, you're very wonderful. He says, but you're sitting on, Mother Parvati sitting on your lap while you're lecturing these brahmacharis. What is going to happen to these brahmacharis? So Mother Parvati, she took this in the wrong way. She misunderstood. And she cursed him. And he says, what do we have to do? What do we have to listen to you people? Who are you to criticize Lord Shiva? He's so great. I curse you to take birth as a demon. Maharaj Chitraketu, he came down, offered his obeisances to Mother Parvati and says, thank you for your curse. He says, it's a benediction, it's a blessing for me. And then he left the arena, and Mother Parvati was shocked. He said, I just cursed him, and he's thanking me for this. So Lord Shiva had to explain, the exalted status of Chitraketu Maharaj to Parvati. He says, look, he says, he was just having some joking words with me. He's very exalted. He's very, that not only am I dear to Lord Narayan, not only is Narada Muni and others, but so is Chitraketu Maharaj because of our transcendental status. And so therefore, it's no surprise that when such people are cursed, that they take it as a blessing. So Narayana Parthasarthi Navtukutascha Nabibhiti Swargapavarga Narake Shatpitu Yatra Darshanaha. So whether such a devotee is in heaven and hell or situated on this earth, such a person is always devoted to the Supreme Lord Narayana. So he is Narayana Parayana. So, and he says, and if you keep cursing such exalted persons, I cannot guarantee what will happen. I cannot guarantee what misfortune will befall you if you keep doing this. So Mother Parvati, she was so embarrassed that she covered her head, with her chuni, and very embarrassed. So then he took birth as Chitraketu, and Chitraketu took birth as Vritrasura, and then there was this pastime, and so forth. And then there's the pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj. Glorious devotee. Glorious devotee. Pastimes of Prahlad Maharaj. He was a devotee from birth. Before the birth even. He came into the womb. Actually, this was foretold by Kardama Muni, that when Diti and he conceived, Kashyap, not Kardama. Sorry, wrong Muni. Kashyap. Kashyap Muni and Diti, they conceived children at the wrong time. They had demons. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, that because Diti was very sorry what had happened, he says, Kashyap Muni said, I cannot reverse this misfortune, I cannot, but you will, but because you're regretful, that your grandson at least will be a great devotee. So this was a Nityasiddha Prahlad Maharaj. He's always a devotee in any situation. And so he came and he heard from Narada Muni while in the womb of his mother Kayadu the glories of devotional service. And so practically speaking, from the very beginning of his life, he was preaching Vishnu Bhakti. And in the schools in particular, he was particularly troublesome. So in the Gurukul, so he'd be teaching his friends Vishnu Bhakti, he'd be saying things about Vishnu, and his Gurukul teachers, Sandanamarka, famously, they would be very offended. Oh, what is this? And they were not only offended by this, but they were afraid that if they didn't do something about this, then, and if Hiranyakashipu found out, that they would be punished, killed, something like that. So they did their best to reform him, to remove his brainwashing. Well, actually, this all started when Prahlad Maharaj came before his father. Father took him on his lap and said, my dear son, tell me what is the best thing you have heard in your school today. This is typical what fathers do. Then Prahlad Maharaj says, well, it's worshipping Lord Vishnu is the goal of life, and Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanavanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atman, Vedam. Hiranyakashipu became really angry and just threw him off the line. You rascal! Sandanamarka, you teach him right. And he even said, who snuck into our Gurukul and corrupted him? So in those days, because Hiranyakashipu, he was in charge of the whole universe, he took over heaven. This is just like in many countries around the world, that they hate devotees. And so devotees have to be, they have to be incognito. They have to preach in disguise in order for the people to hear the message. So so after it was seen that Prahlad could not be reformed, Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in many different ways. And the civilized way when you kill somebody is you have someone kill him for you. So he had so many people, so many of his demons and guards try to throw him off cliffs, throw him under an elephant. The elephants wouldn't do it, wouldn't try to kill him. They would feed him poison. He'd offer his obeisances to the food. The food would, this is prasad. It would actually become purified, and nothing could kill him. So finally, Hiranyakashipu asked him, I've not been able to kill you in any way. What's the source of your power? Because demons, they're very much interested in power. If they want power, they can get it. Well, the source of my power is the source of yours. It's Lord Vishnu. But demons have their limits. Even if it's acknowledged that Lord Vishnu is the source of the power, the demons will not accept. So the atheist Hiranyakashipu, who did not accept, well, there was a Lord Vishnu, but he wants to kill God. It says, God is in that pillar? So yes, God is everywhere. He says, where's Vishnu? He says, he's everywhere. He says, is God in this pillar? Yes, he's also in this pillar. And Prahlad Maharaj, he could actually see the Lord within the pillar. So this is a symptom of a pure devotee, of an uttama adhikari. Sarvabhuteshu chatmanam. How's it go? Sarvabhuteshu chatmanam. No, it's Sarvabhuteshu ya pashyad. Sarvabhuteshu ya pashyad. Bhagavad Bhavamatmanaha Bhutan Yatmani. Was it Bhutan Yatmani? Yeah, Yesham Bhagavatottamaha. Thank you, Prabhu. That one who sees the Lord in everything, one who sees everything, one who sees the Lord within everything, he sees everything as all beings is situated in the Lord, and therefore he sees everything in relation to the Lord. So he could see that the pillar, that the Lord was in the pillar itself, because that's his vision. And so the atheist Hiranyakashipu said that I'm going to destroy this pillar to show you that your Lord is dead, and then I'm going to kill you. So as soon as he struck the pillar, out came the Supreme Lord himself, Lord Nrsingadev. So this is the glories, the exalted status of the pure devotees of the Lord. Because of this intimate relationship between the Lord and his pure devotees, the Lord himself personally tries to fulfill the words of his devotee. This is a very important concept. So just like Srila Prabhupada, when he was preaching, he was just trying to serve the Lord, and practically speaking, so many wonderful things happened around Srila Prabhupada. So many wonderful events. You know, when you hear like the senior devotees, disciples of Prabhupada come, they speak, they talk about how so many arrangements, wonderful arrangements were there, and there's this Hare Krishna explosion. So, if you want to see a Hare Krishna explosion, we have to realize that all the arrangements, everything that's happening is happening by the will of Krishna in reciprocation with his pure devotees. So become a pure devotee, you see a Hare Krishna explosion. That's just, there's no secret. So they say purity is the force, so this is how it works. And Prahlad Maharaj's life illustrates that. So the demon Hiranyakashipu could understand immediately that this form of Lord Narayan was meant for his death, because he remembered all the benedictions he had taken from Lord Brahma, that he would be killed neither by a man nor by an animal, but this is half man, half animal. So he's neither animal and he's neither man. And that this and that the time of his death, it was twilight. It was the sandhya between the nighttime and the daytime. It was the evening time. And it was neither inside a residence nor outside a residence, but inside like the doorway. And it was neither in the air nor on the land nor on the sea, but it was on the lap of the Lord. And the Lord killed him with his nails, because they were neither living nor non-living, because that's the nails. So this just shows that the Lord, no matter how intelligent we are, the Lord is always a little more intelligent than we are. So by this pure service, everybody was delivered. The demigods got their king, the heaven back. Actually, all the residents from the lower planetary systems, middle planetary systems, upper planetary systems, all the different residents of these areas got their land back. Actually, even the Nagas got their wives back. And Prahlad Maharaj, he prayed for his father. His father, please, pardon him for his sins. Lord Nrsingadev informed him that it was 100 generations of your families that are delivered, not just them. Bali Maharaj is another example, devotional service. So he's the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, and he was also king of the demons, like his grandfather was, king of the Asuras. And he also took heaven again. And he surrendered to Lord Vamandev, who took back the kingdom for Lord Indra and the rest of the demigods in a very wonderful way. And even though he was punished by the Lord, by that punishment, he said, "My dear Lord, for your third foot, put it on my head." He got an even greater kingdom. He actually was a resident of a spiritual planet, and the Lord himself, Lord Vamandev, was his door servant, his Dwardapalaka. So, this is the super excellence of devotional service, and these are not just stories. So, just I can tell you, in my own life, in recent news of a relative who had just passed away. They're not devotees, and so I had some correspondence with an aunt of mine, and the funeral had taken place some months ago, and then she said, "I'm still grieving for her," and what to speak of her husband, is still grieving. And also some other news, a devotee friend, a senior devotee, a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, his wife just passed away recently, but her passing away was something quite different. So her kidneys had failed, and even though she could have taken dialysis or could have stayed, some years longer, she chose that, let me just die in my condition, just remembering the Lord and being surrounded by devotees. And she passed away like that. She embraced, the natural death rather than artificially prolonging her life. And her daughter, she made it like some obituary. She wrote up, kind of like for the benefit of the devotees, that my mother, this is how she wanted to pass away. She wanted to remember the Lord, and she wanted to be surrounded by her family members and remember the Lord. And this is how she wanted to pass away. And she was talking about how glorious her mother was, what a glorious life and what a glorious passing away that her mother was. So she wasn't actually sad, grieving, but it was like, she was like, her daughter and her family members were not just, of course you're a little sad, but they were overwhelmed by what a glorious life and passing away their mother had. So that, even for a simple devotee, just some advancement in devotional service will make one fearless at the time of death. So, devotees do not die like ordinary people. Even your humble, even your simple, basic devotee doesn't die like an ordinary person. They're fearless. And this is possible by the mercy of the Lord. Because even in the lowest stage, one can become Amrit. One can become fearless in the face of death. So these are some of the glories of devotional service, and why devotional service is superior to all kinds of fruitive activities. Fruitive activities, by performing fruitive activities and worldly activities, one simply perpetuates the sinful desires within the heart. Because of these sinful desires, the attachment to the body is there, and because the attachment to the body is there, that one is afraid of death. But by devotional service, one can at once cut off that, surpass all those activities. And So we'd like to stop here. There are a few more minutes left. Are there any questions about the subject matter and the glories of the devotional service? Yeah, who can actually ask questions about this? It's just, you have the stories, you have the personal events in their lives to see this. There's nothing much to say. There are no there are really not any very subtle points here. So I'll end this class here. And I know Gita Mitra Prabhu, he would like to say a few more words. So
हिंदी
in Hindi.
धन्यवाद। तो ये जो श्लोक है विष्णु दूत कह रहे हैं और यमदूतों से कह रहे हैं। यमदूत अपने पक्ष में उन्होंने ये बात बताई कि ये जो पापी है इसने अपने पापों का प्रायश्चित नहीं किया अपने जीवन काल में, इसलिए नरक जाएगा। हम इसको नरक में ले जाएंगे और ये वहाँ नरक की यातनाओं के द्वारा शुद्ध होगा और तब फिर वापस इसको मनुष्य का जीवन प्राप्त होगा। लेकिन विष्णुदूत कह रहे हैं कि जो तपस्या दान व्रत करके कोई व्यक्ति प्रायश्चित करता है अपने पापों का, तो वो पापों से तो मुक्त हो जाता है, लेकिन पापों की वासना से मुक्त नहीं होता है। लेकिन जो व्यक्ति भगवान की चरणों की सेवा करता है तो पापों से तो मुक्त हो जाता है, बल्कि पापों की वासनाओं से भी मुक्त हो जाता है। तो विष्णुदूत ये कह रहे हैं। तो यहाँ पर विष्णुदूतों का कहना ये है कि अजामिल ने भगवान के चरणों की सेवा कर ली है, इसलिए अब सब पापों से मुक्त हो गया है। और केवल पापों से मुक्त नहीं हुआ है, बल्कि पापों की वासनाओं से भी मुक्त हो चुका है। ये तो विष्णुदूतों का ये कहना है। अब हमें विचार करना है कि भगवान के चरणों की सेवा तो अजामिल ने की नहीं। अजामिल ने तो जो है नाम उच्चारण किया, और वो भी शुद्ध नाम नहीं था, उसने तो नामाभास बोला था। लेकिन यहाँ भगवान के चरणों की सेवा इस प्रकार से हो गई कि इसने तीव्रता से वो नाम लिया। हालांकि शुद्ध नाम नहीं था, लेकिन तीव्रता से उसने नाम लिया, आश्रय लिया, नाम का आश्रय लिया, भगवान का आश्रय नहीं लिया, नारायण का आश्रय नहीं लिया, नारायण के नाम का आश्रय लिया। और तीव्रता से, क्योंकि यमदूतों ने जो उसको बांधा और उसको खींचा, तो तीव्र पुकार किया, उसने नाम का उच्चारण किया। तो ये जो है भगवान के चरणों की सेवा, भगवान की इतनी दया है कि भगवान इसको भी अपने चरणों की सेवा मान लेते हैं। और चूंकि शुद्ध नाम नहीं था तो भगवान स्वयं रक्षा करने के लिए नहीं आए, नाम का आभास था, इसलिए नाम के आभास से भी उसकी रक्षा हो गई। भगवान के दूत आए। जैसे द्रौपदी ने नाम पुकारा था तो शुद्ध नाम था, तो भगवान स्वयं कृष्ण रक्षा करने के लिए आए द्रौपदी की। लेकिन अजामिल ने शुद्ध नाम नहीं लिया था, नामाभास लिया, लेकिन तीव्रता से नाम लिया। तो जैसे प्रभु जी बता रहे, तीव्रेण भक्ति योगेन यजेत पुरुषम परम, तीव्र भक्ति योग के द्वारा आराधना करनी चाहिए। तो उसने ये जो नाम लिया, विवश होकर के व्यवस्था में नाम लिया, और बहुत जो है भयभीत अवस्था में उसने नाम लिया, बहुत कष्ट की अवस्था में नाम लिया, तो वो था उसका तीव्र उच्चारण, नाम का तीव्र उच्चारण था। तो विष्णुदूत कहते हैं कि ये अब जो है जितने पाप इसने किए, इतना ही नहीं, करोड़ों जन्म के पापों से मुक्त हो चुका है। और इतना ही नहीं, ये पापों की वासनाओं से इसकी पापों की वासनाएं भी खत्म हो चुकी हैं। तो विष्णुदूत ऐसा कह रहे हैं, अभी नरक में क्यों जाएगा, है ना। और वास्तव में अजामिल जो है पापों की वासनाओं से मुक्त हो गया था, तो इसलिए जब यमदूत चले गए अजामिल को छोड़ करके, और विष्णुदूत भी चले गए अजामिल को छोड़ करके, तो अजामिल का हृदय शुद्ध होने के कारण वो बड़ा पश्चाताप करने लगा कि मैं कितना पापी हूँ, मैंने कितना पाप किया। उसने जो है फिर सब कुछ विचार किया कि वेश्या की संगति से मैंने पुत्र उत्पन्न किए, और अपनी जो सदा चारणी सुंदर पत्नी थी तो उसका मैंने त्याग किया, अपने माता पिता की सेवा का त्याग किया, मैं कितना पापी हूँ। और उसने सब कुछ छोड़ दिया और तुरंत हरिद्वार चला गया और एक मंदिर में जो है फिर शुद्ध भक्ति का जो है उसने अभ्यास करना शुरू कर दिया। तो यहाँ पर ये नाम की महिमा का वर्णन है, इस कथा में नाम की महिमा का वर्णन है कि हम जो है तीव्रता से नाम लें। अगर हम शुद्ध नाम नहीं ले पाते हैं तो नाम लेते समय भगवान के रूप का, भगवान के गुणों का स्मरण नहीं हो रहा है तो हम जो है शुद्ध नाम नहीं ले रहे हैं। लेकिन तो भी तीव्रता से नाम लीजिए, तीव्रता से नाम लीजिए, है ना। इसको अच्छी प्रकार से कानों से आप जो है सुनते रहिए। और जो है अगर आप जो है कष्ट में, संकट में अगर नाम लेते हैं तो पहले ही बताया था कि कोई गिर जाए ज़मीन में और फिर नाम लेता है ऐसे में, तो वो नाम जो है बड़ा तीव्र होता है। कोई फिसल जाए उस समय नाम ले तो बड़ा तीव्र होता है ना। तो लेकिन उस समय अगर हमने अभ्यास नहीं किया नाम का तो नाम नहीं निकलेगा। तो बाप रे, अरे दैया, मर गया, ऐसे बोलते हैं, वो नाम नहीं निकलता। तो नाम के लिए बहुत अभ्यास चाहिए। तो इतना अभ्यास आप करिए, नाम का इतना अभ्यास करिए कि जब आप देखते हैं कि सड़क में एक्सीडेंट होने वाला है आपका, तो आपके मुँह से क्या निकलता है, तो आप देखिए वो तीव्र नाम होता है। अगर आप सड़क पार कर रहे हैं और सामने ट्रक आ जाए तो आप क्या बोलते हैं, ओ, उस समय नाम कृष्णा नहीं निकलता है। तो आपकी परीक्षा है, ये परीक्षा है, रोज़ की परीक्षा होती है कि आप जो है उस समय नाम ले पाते कि नहीं ले पाते। 16 माला पूरा कर लिया, बहुत अच्छी बात है ना। और 16 माला से ज़्यादा कर लिया, बहुत अच्छी बात है। लेकिन पतिता है इसका ले तो भगना, जब हड्डी टूट जाए तब आप कैसे बोलते हैं, है ना। तब आपका जो है माला जप बंद हो जाता है। अब सिर दर्द हो रहा है तो माला जप बंद हो जाता है, अब माला जप नहीं हो पाता। तो ये अभ्यास है जो आपको करना है। और थोड़ी थोड़ी परीक्षाएं हैं, छोटी छोटी परीक्षाएं हैं, मंथली टेस्ट, वीकली टेस्ट, डेली टेस्ट, छोटे छोटे टेस्ट हैं। और फिर जो अंतिम होता है फाइनल एग्ज़ामिनेशन। तो फाइनल एग्ज़ामिनेशन को पास करने के लिए आपको डेली टेस्ट, छोटे छोटे टेस्ट हैं उनको पास करना है, मंथली टेस्ट, वीकली टेस्ट इनको पास करना है। और अंत में फिर फाइनल एग्ज़ामिनेशन, वही चीज़ है ना। पेपर आउट, क्वेश्चन इज आउट। आप तैयारी करो, बस एक ही तैयारी करो। प्रभुपाद ने सब आउट कर दिया है, पेपर आउट कर दिया है, क्वेश्चन आउट कर दिया है, सब कुछ कर दिया है। बस केवल इसी का जो है अभ्यास करिए। हरे कृष्णा। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।